Hall. Inside you'll find some pretty cool rock and roll memorabilia, including Philadelphia native Joan Jett's guitar. Let's get here to the left, the Hard Rock Cafe of Philly. Across the street, that's the Lowe's Hotel. This was the location for America's first circus, known as Ricketts. Both Benjamin Franklin and George Washington attended the circus here at the Lowe's. Unfortunately, it burnt down many years ago, predates electricity, used fire to light their way. Not sure that was a good idea, considering I attended a circus. Once again, Ricketts there at the Lowe's. Up ahead is your first look at Philadelphia's City Hall. This is the largest municipal building in the world. Has about 700 rooms, 270 handcrafted statues on the outside. If you look on top, that statue is William Penn, the largest statue on top of a building in the world. He's also 47 feet tall, so about as tall as that Hard Rock guitar back there. He faces Penn Treaty Field. That'd be the field in which he signed the treaty to gain access to Philadelphia from the Lenni Lenape people. Once again, this is Philadelphia's City Hall. A great example of our older buildings being reclaimed by newer businesses in an effort to preserve that beautiful architecture. Once again, Market Street, the Lodge of Free and Accepted Masons. Now, the Masons believe that nobody is perfect except for God, so in each of their grand lodges is a very specific flaw. Though I can't tell you what that flaw is, just from being on the outside, they have daily tours. On that tour, you could find George Washington's Masonic apron, though I will say it's quite underwhelming, as it's just a framed apron. Top of the Battle of Gettysburg, built on the Union side. Coming up at the base of the Grand Hall, you'll find a handshake between Ben Franklin and George Washington. This is titled The Bond. Also here on the right is young Ben Franklin at the printing press. Now usually there's a game board here, though it's under construction, so we just have that big boy in the center, which is Government of the People. After things you find in nature. The Parkway is the first street that deviates from this plan. Along the Parkway you'll find alphabetized flags representative of local communities here in Philly, all of which are in alphabetical order except for a few, which I'll be sure to point out as we head along. It's part of our Holocaust Memorial Plaza. This is the first Holocaust Memorial Plaza in the country. In its center you'll find a statue titled 7 Million Jewish Martyrs, created by a survivor himself. Now the second flag out of order is that of Poland, stands in front of a statue dedicated to Thaddeus Kokoszko. Thaddeus was a Polish officer who helped us out in many battles in the American Revolution. Look at what's under construction during the anti-Catholic riots here in the city, known as the Know Nothing riots. So you'll find none of the windows are original except for those on the dome. This is due to construction workers. They took bricks, threw them as high as they possibly could. Just above that is where they felt it was safe enough to add those windows. Once again, due to those anti-Catholic riots, the Know Nothing riots. Now to your left is that statue of Thaddeus Kokoszko. Coming up on the right is the Amor statue. The beautifully lit building to our right is the Temple to Jesus Christ Church of Latter-day Saints. Right up ahead is two sister buildings designed by the nation's first black architect. His name is Julian Abel. He also designed the Philadelphia Museum of Art. The building to the right is where the African American Museum of Philadelphia is moving to. This is a much larger space than the one we'll pass later on. Once again, that name is Julian Abel. The building to the left is the Free Library of Philadelphia. This was the nation's first free library. Before that, Benjamin Franklin had a sort of book subscription service, kind of like Netflix. Right out front, you'll find our Shakespeare Memorial with the quote, "All the world's a stage, all the men and women merely players." This is from his play, As You Like It. Inside are rare collections of both Charles Dickens and Edgar Allan Poe, including a stuffed bird said to have inspired the Raven. This will be Charles Dickens' personal pet. Kind of behind us, that's the Academy of Natural Sciences. The Franklin is one of the nation's first scientific institutes, houses one of the nation's first planetariums. Inside you'll find some pretty cool scientific exhibits, including a giant human heart in which you can... The Barnes Foundation will be coming up on our right. This is the private collection of one Dr. Robert C. Barnes. He originally did not have the collection moved from his home, but after his death, his home became a museum. That museum wasn't doing so hot, so they made the controversial decision to move it here in Philadelphia. Inside you'll find it's exactly as it would have been in his home. All the wallpaper where everything's placed is exactly the same. This is one of the world's largest post-impressionist and post-modern collections. Work, The Thinker. Now, the thinker was originally part of the piece behind him, not that iron gate you see, but the front door to the museum titled The Gates of Hell. Inspired by Dante's Inferno, it said that the thinker sat upon the gates of hell, pondering whether or not to cut. Either way, the largest public park in America, Fairmount Park. This brick building to our left is the Parkway House. It was the first building designed by a woman in the city. Her name was Elizabeth Fleming. She designed it so that regardless of time of day, each room would get the same amount of light. He was a very famous playboy and prankster of his time. He liked to fly his biplane over sunbathers at the beach just to give them a good scare. He's perhaps more well known for being a World War I draft of his time, closed in 1961. They have daily tours. They also have an auditory tour, which is narrated by actor Steve Buscemi. Interested in their haunted attraction, known as Halloween Nights here at Eastern State. If you like signing a waiver so actors can scream at you and touch you in an old jail, that's for you. It's one of the world's largest and most popular haunted attractions. Watch the branches here, but to your right is the Perlman Building, originally the home base for Fidelity Mutual Insurance, now serves as the Philadelphia Museum of Art Annex, so where they host their rotating and archived exhibits. Once again, that's the Perlman. I love its Art Deco exterior. Now, once again, that is not the Philadelphia Museum of Art. The Philadelphia Museum of Art is here to the right, that big building on the hill. You can't see it here in the dark, but first Rocky film. Our stop is coming up ahead. This is for the Philadelphia Museum of Art. We are going to let you off. You've got about 20 minutes. You don't have to take the whole 20. You don't even have to hop off. But we're about to pull up. Once again, this is the Philadelphia Museum of Art. And of course, those 72 steps. As we make this turn, I expect you to sing along. You might recall a very famous training montage in which Sylvester Stallone runs up those 72 steps, throws his arms up in brilliant victory. Well, I hate to burst childhood dreams on this tour today, but Sylvester Stallone did not run up all 72 steps. He only ran up about 12 of them. The other 60 were his stunt double. It breaks my heart to tell you this. It really does. Originally, the Rocky statue stood at the top of those 72 steps, but many people believed it was a tacky movie prop and distracted from all the art inside. So he spent some time in some Philadelphia sports centers till he made his way back to the museum, where he now stands on that lower right-hand side. Once again, I'm going to let you off here for the Philadelphia Museum of Art. You've got about 20 minutes, so I need you back here at 8:45. You don't have to hop off once again. You don't even have to take the full 20. If everyone is back before we're done, then we'll continue the tour. I have 27 of you, so I won't leave anyone here. In the center is said to be the most accurate depiction of the president's head. The artist used his life cast, about 6 different portraits in order to create it, though he didn't have a reference for the rest of their body, so we kind of copy it.
Let's go, buddy. 어디 로키 다가 두긴다 로키. 아무도 하고라 로키. 깨라 첨보. 로키 라나 하 먹어나 람보. 아리게 Hollywood picture 깨라 첨보. 람보 movie 와. 되게 히로 되게 스테이지 샷사스 따때모지 열세드나. 스테이지 열세 다가도 다데 레송. 어따데. 다 나고 나네. 세보시라 통하면 돼. 나대 깨라 첨부들에. 당아 잘가 톱소 러거다데. 단자 람보게 디네 알켄자 스텝 딘치 되니 요레스. 토가보다 잘했어. 뭐비도 몰라. 얘네 양 문에 쉐바이나 스텝 중니, 견자 중니 마도 자요 말했어. 어떤데 쉐기도 당한조 같이 봐도 자투도 따야 한다. 저거. 오케이. 내가 취하고 싶었어. 와, you did it.
Art from Lightning. That smaller skyline to our right is University City. This serves as Drexel University's campus. And there to the right. Up ahead is Philadelphia's grand skyline. Now you may notice it's not all of that. There's not a lot of really tall skyscrapers up there. I'll explain why in just a moment, but before I do, I'll talk about the two tallest. On the right is the Tech Center, set to look like a Nokia cell phone, that antenna serving as the port. Galleries at Moore. This for Moore College of Art and Design, one of the first arts colleges in the country, specifically one of the first for women. Once again, the galleries at Moore. That's the Comcast Center. Once again, set to look like a flash drive. At the end of the street is 30th Street Station, our main train station in Philadelphia. Trains going all over the country. Connects to the Schuylkill River Trail, the longest river trail on the East Coast. Now coming up Market, you find a museum known as the Mutter, M-U-T-T-E-R. The Mutter Museum's tagline is disturbingly informative. That clock is about 3 feet wider than the clock we commonly refer to as Big Ben in England. The name of that tower is Elizabeth's Tower. Big Ben is just the name of the bell inside. It's about 3 feet wider than that bell. To your right is the clothespin. Now the artist is very adamant, just a clothespin. Some speculate its meaning though. Some say it looks like the Liberty Bell. Others say it forms a 7 and a 6 with that medal, 1776. Others say it's just placed outside of City Hall so that politician, man who urged black voters to use their belts on the first election day they were granted to the right, he was then murdered by white protesters. Once again, here to the left, that name was Octavius Cato, also founded the nation's first black baseball team. Arts venues along it, which I'll be sure to point out as we head along. Once again, headed down South Broad Street. Performance arts venue. This was originally created to fundraise for Abraham Lincoln's first election. Now serves as like an urban country club, the Union League of Philadelphia, here to the right. Lincoln was able to visit once. That was for the funeral of Octavius Cato, once again the Union League. Now coming up on our right is the Bellevue Hotel. The Bellevue has 1,000 rooms. Its halls are 6 feet wide to accommodate the hoop skirts of the time. Each president has stayed at the Bellevue during the visit to Philadelphia. Bram Stoker stayed here while he was writing Dracula, with some of it on the parchment and sign. Once again, the Bellevue, here to the right. Known as the Miriam. Both are where we host our traveling Broadway companies. Now, to the left, this is the Wilmette Aurora, that purple building. This is where you'll find your more contemporary and independent works of theater here in Philly. If you're looking for theater in Philadelphia, I'll point you in the direction of the Wilma, my personal favorite. Now, to your right, this is the Kimmel Center, though this is all technically the Kimmel Center's cultural campus. Lots of visitors here to Kimmel, speakers, orchestras, comedians. This is the current home for the Philadelphia Orchestra. Once again, the Kimmel Center here to the right. Antiquing, as this is the worldwide capital of colonial restoration homes. Society Hill is the most expensive neighborhood in Philadelphia due to all of those colonial homes. In the 1980s, the city wanted to demolish all of those homes, but one man by the name of Edmund Bacon asked the city if he could sell them at a cheaper price with a promise they'd be restored. He's considered the father of modern Philadelphia for that reason. Once again, that name is Edmund Bacon. He's also considered the father of Kevin Bacon, actor born and raised here in Philly. Trees, food trucks, fireworks, DJs. Once again, connects to Spruce Street, Harbor Park via the Delaware River. We're turning onto Columbus Boulevard. You'll find a spire coming up on our right that's dedicated to Columbus. So if you look to your left, you'll find 3 beige, what seem to be office buildings. Now you might look at those and go, oh, 3 beige, boring office buildings, nothing special about them. Well, you'd be wrong. They're an optical illusion by the architect I.M. Pei. He designed the pyramid addition to the Louvre as well as the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. He designed them so that regardless how you look at them, they look to be different sizes and shapes, but they're the same size and shape. Pen's Landing hosted many fun events, roller skating, carnival rides, carnival games, carnival food, and the scariest Ferris wheel I have ever been on. I hate that thing. Once again, this is Pen's Landing. Our Freightlink Bridge stretches once again over there to Camden. Many founding fathers attended church here, including George Washington. George Washington, he had a pew engraved with his name right next door for the first flag. Once again, Christ Church here to the right. Now, you might be wondering, where do I get a cheesesteak in the city? And who do I ask? You ask your well-informed tour guide who loves to eat, and I point you in the direction of Sunny's, here to our left. That black and white building, now I do really like them. They use ribeye instead of sirloin. If you're looking for a good cheesesteak, you have 3 options for cheese: American, provolone, and whiz. If you're looking for the classic, get whiz with fried onions. Now, heed my warning. Don't go to Pat's and don't go to Gino's. You won't find a good cheesesteak there. A good cheesesteak should have enough meat and cheese to where the bread can stand by itself. At Pat's and Gino's, it'll be a little dry, a little flavorless, and a little flat. Visitor Center, this has the best public restrooms in the city. Coming up on the left, you'll find an exhibit known as the President's House. This is where George Washington stayed while he was crafting the government. It now serves as a reminder between the paradox of our presidents and slavery, a very powerful and informative exhibit. Once again, the President's House, connected to that glass house, which houses the Liberty Bell. Again, in my view, I do mean a great view, much better than you'd have in the day, as there's no glare and no people in there to block your view. Once again, the Liberty Bell is coming up after this turn. That brick and cream building up ahead is Congress Hall. This is where Congress would have met when Philadelphia was the nation's capital. Up above would have been the Senate, and down below the House of Reps, just as it is in D.C. today. Once again, the Liberty Bell will be coming up on your left. And there she is, Miss America herself. To your right is Independence Hall, coins per year. Coming up on the right is the National Constitution Center. This is the only building in the world completely dedicated to the Constitution, though you'll find it's not even in there. It's in the U.S. Archives in D.C. Most people come for Starbucks next door, though they do have some pretty cool galleries and exhibits. Its newest was displayed on that window for the First Amendment. A gallery just opened. To your left is Philadelphia's most beautiful parking garage. We have so many beautiful pieces of public art here in our city, thanks to that 1% for Art program. If you have any public property in the city of Philadelphia, at least 1% of it has to be dedicated to public art. Hence the beautiful parking garages, like here to our right, Philadelphia's 4 dragons, inspired by the 4 seasons, as well as paying homage to the Chinese New Year dragons you find in the festival here every year. Well, now people here for about 8,000 years. Before the first settlers would have came here, the Swedish and the Dutch. William Penn was granted access to Pennsylvania based on a deal his father had with King Charles I of England. Owed him quite the large sum of money, so William Penn was granted Pennsylvania as collateral, founded Philadelphia in 1682. Philadelphia is Greek for city of brotherly love, founded on the notion of religious liberty and freedom, that anyone could be a anyone could be a brother in this city, regardless of religion. We're passing through Philadelphia's Chinatown. Chinatown got its start due to racist redlining, as well as Chinese people looking for a place to start building community, but they most likely found none. Originally started with just a laundry service, but within a year, a grocery store, as well as a restaurant popped up, known as the 5th largest Chinatown in the country. Coming up on our right is our Chinese Friendship Gate. Very beautiful, don't let you miss it. Once again, coming up on the right. And there to the right, our Friendship Gate. Now, if you're looking for food recommendations here in Chinatown, I can give you 2. Terracotta Ramen, which is back here on 9th and Arch, as well as Tom's Dim Sum here on 11th and Arch, both very good. that make up a Reading Terminal Market. I can't name all the food in here, though I can say that the nation's first ice cream is in here, Bassett's. Their first flavor, but I hope you had fun, I hope you learned something. Just so you know, both me and David do accept tips. If you'd like to leave us something, we'd appreciate it. But I hope you have a great time here in Philadelphia. I'll be right downstairs if you have any questions about anything I did or didn't cover. Once again, hope you have a great night here in Philly. Thanks for joining us.